All right, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. So I want to take just a few minutes, and really just a few minutes. I'm going to try and keep this under 5 minutes because I have a tendency to yammer and go off on tangents, and I don't want to do that. So I want to take just a few minutes to kind of address this patch, the most recent one, um, the Guyala Delve map, the What Lies Beneath story content, and talk about whether or not, because a lot of people are very unhappy with it. Um, is it bad or not, and just how bad is it, and kind of what does future hold for us? So really quickly, in terms of the 2023 roadmap, did we or did we not get what we were told we would get? Well, if you look at their concept of what an expansion should, oh, that's disappointing. What an expansion should give us, and you ask whether or not we're going to get that with what with this most recent release, then yes, we're fine. They're keeping their word because almost everything that they offer in that description of what future expansion is going to look like, Ender Dragons already gave us. So the only thing we don't have is a Fractal release that did not come with this patch. That is a disappointment. It does need to come with the next patch, or I am going to be concerned about whether or not they're even keeping their word, which they've failed to numerous times, and most studios do from time to time. So it is what it is. If that happens down the road, I'm not going to tell you how to feel about it. But in my eyes, for them to be able to keep their word with this one, they don't owe us more strikes because they gave us so many with Ender Dragons. So they've already met that obligation. They've already given us lots of maps, and they've given us this one, which is clearly going to expand. If you look at where Guyala Delve appears in relation, obviously with the name centered, like all this is going to open, right? So I don't think we have a crisis with the map itself. I don't think we have a crisis with strikes in that they're keeping their word. Whether or not you're happy with the amount of content is not for me to decide. But I do think they're keeping their word with that. No Fractal, that needs to happen. The map itself and the meta event. I firmly believe that this map and this meta event are intended to carry us for a long time. I think with the material sinks that they put on this map, and with the new Black Lion trading post thing, with those two things kind of viewed in conjunction with each other, and then the amount of materials that this meta provides and this map provides in a very linear, straightforward fashion, I think not only in terms of like repeatable content, if you do, whether or not you consider this repeatable content, not for me to decide, but I think it's intended to be viewed that way. In terms of repeatable content and in terms of the economy, I think that's what this map is designed to do, is carry us forward for the next 9, 12, whatever the case may be, months. And because it appears to be deliberately that way, I do consider that to be something of a success. I'm not going to say it's my favorite meta ever, but it's also not, in my opinion, like the worst one ever. I think they've had many that were actually significantly worse. And I think it's, when I very first played it, I speculated about whether or not the difficulty level was high. Having now played it a couple times, I don't think the difficulty level is like crazy high or that it scales badly. So I think, I think it was relatively simple by design, high in loot by design, and intended to carry us for, like I said, 9 to 12 months, whatever the case may be. Finally, the story. I think the story is bad for a couple reasons. I think the story is bad because there's not a lot of it in this patch, and I think that is a bit of a letdown. If your model that you're touting does not, in fact, provide us with a significant amount of like other content in terms of instance content, because I don't think we're going to get any more strike missions for the remainder of this release cadence. The extension of End of Dragons, I don't think it's going to give us any more strikes, because they already checked the block with End of Dragons itself. So now you're kind of reliant on the story. You need more story than that. And also, I'm concerned that the story is going to be using Guild Wars 1 concepts as a crutch and using characters that not only have we already seen a lot of in Guild Wars 2, but actually are actually dead. Like, Air and Almora have lived out their lifespans in this game. We don't need more Air and Almora. We need completely new concepts. We don't need a Guild Wars 1 foe to be the primary foe for this portion of the story. We need all new concepts, all new characters, all new ideas, and I'm afraid we're not going to get that. So that's kind of where I'm at on the story. I'm really concerned about the story. So kind of in summary, like I said, I want to do a really fast synopsis, and I think my really fast synopsis is that if they can give us a Fractal in the next couple releases, then for better or for worse, we're getting what they told us we were going to get. I don't know that I was never a fan of what they told us we were going to get, because for me it's Icebrood Saga 2.0. And I think more than ever, it's evident that that is the case, and that's what we're going to get. And that's a disappointment. But I do think they're more or less keeping their word if they give us that Fractal. I think the story is looking less than optimal. And I don't think anybody, we had no indications that we would be getting elite specs or raid wings in the... I'm not a raider, so that doesn't impact me. But for the community as a whole, those things were not indicated in the 2023 roadmap, and definitely this this patch did nothing to change that perception. So they're doing exactly what they said they would do, which is probably not enough, and should never have been presented as enough by folks who were completely hype training the announcement of the mini expansions, because they should have taken a closer look at that and recognized that as probably inadequate when you really take a good look at it. And now we're getting that. Is it the end of the game? No, absolutely not. They can do the bare minimum, and this game will survive for, 5 more years easy. But I would prefer to see them do better than that. And right now, I'm not convinced that they're actually going to do that. So that's all right. We'll continue our story playthrough. We'll continue to, enjoy the game in the best ways we can, because there are good things about the game, and we should appreciate those. We're just going to have to kind of accept that, some other things aren't going to manifest the way that we would necessarily like. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to kind of listen to that. That's kind of where I'm at on the most recent patch, and we'll see if some of that, maybe I'm proven wrong on some of these things. Maybe some things change. Maybe we do get 2 more strike missions in the next 12 months in addition to a Fractal, but I don't think that is a reasonable expectation at all. So we'll see what happens. All right, thanks, and have a good one.